I just finished month 1 of clinical in CRNA school. I give a summary so that the people who are starting clinical next year or next semester can kind of know maybe a little bit more of what to expect. The first hardest thing is just how mentally draining it is, because from the moment that you step foot in the operating room to the moment you leave, you are super mentally on. All alarm bells are on. You are wired. You're listening to every single noise, sound, bell, alarm. You're interacting with patients. You're being grilled by your preceptor. It's really exhausting in a way that's difficult to describe. Role change is also super difficult because not everybody likes students, and you have to learn to kind of separate that because it's not about you. It's really literally not about you at all. And then after being in the operating room for like 9 to 13 hours, then the hard thing is that you have to go home and look up your cases for the next day. And every case is new when you're first starting, so it takes forever. However, the first month I think is the hardest with everything being new. Like now finishing up week 5, I know that a robotics case, I know that I'm going to do general anesthesia. I know that I'm going to do an ET tube. I know my general anesthetic plan, and I can look at the specific patient, but I don't have to spend a long time reading the case summary itself and watching YouTube videos about each individual case because I know the case because I'm building up a library of care plans. Tips for people who are starting off, things that like have made the transition a little bit easier. Literally have a notes app and write down every single staff member's name and try to learn names as quickly as possible. Because you cannot control that you are brand new, but you can be nice and you can remember people's names. Like that is totally within your control. Bring snacks for you, snacks for your preceptor. I love a protein bar and like a protein shake in the middle of the morning. Be early. Like again, we can't control whether or not we've done a case before, but we can be on time and we can be early. I recommend building out like a Google Drive of all your care plans and then separating the ones that you have to submit to your program versus are just going to be for your own personal reference. So I have a Google Drive with like ortho cases, GYN cases, peds cases, and I'm starting like heart and vascular cases. And then each care plan like category I'm like building out in my Google Drive. JAF is what you want to be using for your Google for all of your care plans. Vargo is great, but it's like a summary and it's not in depth enough for like an anesthetic care plan. And then the other thing that's hard is like we have studying to do on top of all of this because like you're so on and you're so mentally drained in the operating room, and then you have to prepare for your cases for the next day because the patients are what matter. And then you still have like assignments and stuff due for school. So like learning to navigate all of that is just like a lot. But for all the week 1 students who are starting in the operating room, I will say like I feel like you get your feet under you faster than you necessarily think that you're going to. Like week 5, I'm still like deer in headlights. I still have so much to learn. But for some cases, I'm starting to feel like a lot more comfortable. And speaking of school, I have to go study for 10 hours at the library on my day off, and I'm going to do the same thing tomorrow. Like CRNA school is really hard. It's super challenging, but it's also really rewarding. Like I love dropping my patients off in PACU and then they received a great anesthetic and then they wake up and they're not in pain and they are super comfortable and they thank you after like the surgery. Like I love the job. It's just like it's hard. So, but I'm alive.